What was the most obvious YTA you have ever seen on AITA, excluding rage bait? The recent one where he uninvited his friend to his wedding because the friend lost his arm in an accident and that would draw the spotlight away from the couple. There was this guy who divorced his wife while she was in the hospital. He thought she was terminally ill, because she wasn't her old self. He then, in a matter of months, married a coworker the wife always felt a little sus about. When the douche found out his wife not only recovered, but got her life together and basically had a mental and physical glow up, he started wondering if he should try shooting his shot with her again. Edit. I'm very sorry, but I couldn't find the post. Tried searching with wife, ex, sick, get back and in all my comments, but nothing comes up. I guarantee it was real, because it was one of the first posts in AITA that made me mad AF. P.S. Wow, that's a lot of upvotes. Selling his brother's Pokemon cards for $5K, then not giving his brother the money because he found them while helping him move. One dude was like, AITA for not promoting my longest serving, overqualified employee and instead giving the job to my son who just graduate college. Dude got roasted and downvoted to oblivion. Shout out to R. Am I the Devil if you want some really painful reads beyond the typical YTA. One dude's girlfriend committed suicide because he lied about helping her move to his country and she had quit her job, etc. in preparation for moving. He just complained about it being hard on him. So many good ones already suggested. The one I first thought of was the American guy who had been living in Germany for 15 years yet didn't speak a word of German and didn't want any future children with his new GF to learn either German or the third language she spoke. His older children back in the US only spoke English and it wouldn't be fair to them if their new half-siblings were different, so everyone should just be monolingual in English. I don't know if this was rage bait or not, but probably the GF who got mad at her boyfriend for not coming with her on a trip, but she conveniently left out a detail. He was recently diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. He was also a doctor who knew full well how aggressive and deadly that form of cancer can be. He was likely having an existential crisis at that time and needed support, but instead received the opposite from the one person he needed it from the most. I really hope that dude is doing well. Glad I never read that one. My husband was diagnosed with Ewing's on his 25th birthday. Not only is it aggressive and usually a terminal diagnosis, but it is extremely painful. My husband thought he had shin splints, but it turned out that most of his tibia was missing. The cancer had eaten through his bone. I told the doctor I needed the truth as far as his diagnosis and she told me 2 years. Somehow he fought it for 6 YRS and I lost him not long after his 31st B-day. That GF is the devil incarnate. I hope the guy got rid of her because he didn't need that stress on top of what he was going through. Edit. Makes me feel good that my most upvoted comment and my first awards were given on a comment about my husband. I know he would be into it. His biggest fear was being forgotten when he knew he would die young. The one where the guy thought that his GF who was working to be a dermatologist was being shallow for having lots of skincare products, because she was pretty enough without them, so he bagged them all up and threw them out. She had her own bathroom, it wasn't like they shared one and he had no space. He threw out some stuff her deceased father had bought for her as well and then questioned why she was mad at him. This one was so annoying. He scoffed at the fact that she had to wash her face before bed. After working 12 hours. Also somehow didn't connect the fact that she had perfect, airbrushed skin to the fact that she took care of it with these products. I keep thinking about the guy whose girlfriend spent her entire week's food budget to make a lasagna and offered her boyfriend some. He ended up taking the whole thing to feed his buddies, which left her with no food and no way to get food. I sure hope this was rage bait. The guy that was obviously in love with his new guy friend, and turned his spare room into an art studio for him and gave him a key without discussing it with his wife. In the update he announced that he's leaving her for him to the surprise of no one. Bridezilla demanded that girl dye her hair a more natural color, because being a natural redhead wasn't natural. The woman who refused to take her boyfriend to the hospital for his broken leg after he fell from the roof. She even told him he was being dramatic. Mind you, she was working at home when he asked her to take him to the hospital and didn't check on him for 6 hours. The only reason why she knew he went to the hospital was due to her boyfriend's friend coming over to take him. And to top it off, she got angry because the friend told her she was negligent. Edit link. This is the OG link of the now removed story. For context, my boyfriend and I have been together 6 years and have lived together for the past year. We're both 23. On Friday morning, my boyfriend was fixing our gutters and fell off the ladder, resulting in a broken leg. He was able to walk in the house due to the adrenaline and shock to tell me what happened, and told me I needed to take him to the hospital. I've been working from home for the past couple years. I had a really important meeting that afternoon that I knew I couldn't rearrange on such short notice, so I told him I would after it was finished. His leg didn't look broken or bruised, and because he was able to walk on it at first, I thought he was probably being a bit dramatic. I told him to go lie down in our guest room, which is downstairs, and gave him some ice. After my meeting finished, I decided to keep working because my boyfriend hadn't texted or gave any indication that he was in pain. Around 4 p.m., he fell off the ladder. Around 10 a.m., his best friend came pounding on the door and immediately starting an argument with me. My boyfriend had called him telling him I was refusing to take him to the hospital and so he needed him to take him. This pissed me off. I wasn't refusing, but I had to work and he didn't seem in pain. His friend took him and his leg was very broken. All of his friends and his parents are acting as if I purposefully ignored him, when in reality I was going to take him once I finished work. AITA? The woman who went on a trip without her BF. Both were invited, and made it out like he was just being mopey and possessive. Turns out she didn't mention that he was diagnosed with a cancer with a low survival rate and that he didn't want to go on a trip cause of it. This mother pepper sprayed a Costco worker for essentially saying, "Ma'am, you just shoplifted." Edit. Wow, this blew up while I was out. Anyways, to those of you along for the link, I do not have it. I saw the post a long time ago and this Ask Reddit post triggered the memory. I have been in that subreddit for so long, to the point I have more than once some guy uninvited his friend to his wedding because he lost his arm in a car accident, thinking he would take all the attention away from him and his wife. Someone got his girlfriend deported. A woman didn't let her brother who hadn't slept for 2 days straight get some sleep because her kids wanted to play with him. I left that subreddit yesterday. Best choice of my life. The woman who mixed all of her Asian boyfriend's rice into a single container and outright refused to believe that the different varieties were, different. Like, seriously, not knowing that basmati and jasmine rice require different cook times and water content is one thing, but breaking your partner's boundaries, reorganizing their stuff without their permission, and then getting mad when hundreds of people tell you how badly you just fucked up. That takes some next-level self-absorption. This guy only liked to hang out with his sons because they did activities together that he liked. He was wondering if he was an ass for ignoring his daughter for pretty much her entire life because he didn't like playing house or tea time or some shit. Oh, the girl who mixed all her boyfriend's rices into one container. Subsequently, the guy who mixed all his wife's different coffee beans into one container. Oh, and the dude that mixed all his girlfriend's spices into one container. People really need to stop mixing other people's shit together. I got banned from AITA for saying something messed up about a woman who messed with her son's GF's birth control while they were camping so she'd get pregnant because she wanted a grandchild. That bride who was pissed off that her friend who was supposed to be her maid of honor didn't want to be in the wedding because the guy who raped her was the best man. The one about the bride who skimped out on providing food at her wedding to be able to have Mickey and Minnie make an appearance. There's a few. From time to time a nice guy will post there with some really weird shit. I remember one guy was upset that a girl he liked, who didn't like him, took her shirt off when it was warm. So he tossed the shirt in the trash, and she was forced to walk home late at night while in her underwear. A guy who yelled at a girl, because he offered her a ride home, but she refused, so he started to yell at her that he wasn't a rapist or something. Might have been rage bait, because if I recall the post got removed. This last one wasn't too bad. Edit. When I say not too bad, I mean in context compared to some of the posts mentioned. Obviously it's bad, but it was very obvious. A girl had moved in with her boyfriend, who had a collection of superhero figures and whatnot. She hated that he was a nerd, so she started selling them, behind his back. And he got upset. Not too bad, but it took a turn when she started to argue with everyone who called her the asshole, which was almost all comments. She kept making edits to the post calling the people commenting manchildren, stupid nerds who needed to get a life etc. It just made the obvious more obvious. Though it was kind of funny how upset she got. That one dad who thought his daughter making money with an iPad she owned was irresponsible because she wasn't doing chores and that her art wouldn't make her money in the long run, even though she was a teen and already getting commissions. He stole her iPad and sold it. It was only after Reddit thoroughly reamed him that he relented slightly by buying her a lesser quality tablet. Probably the one about this wife asking if she was the asshole for demanding that her husband wear his wedding ring right after he woke up from surgery. The guy who ate all of the 6-foot sandwich, near enough, at a UFC watch party link not as egregious as some of the others, but just utterly out of touch in terms of his behavior and how it comes across to others. The guy who got his girlfriend deported. She ended up killing herself. Edit. Link. All my friends dropped me after I caused my ex to be deported to a country where she had no connections and was all alone, and she killed herself. How can I make them stop being mad at me? I've never wanted to throw someone onto the interstate from an overpass before or since. Fucking sociopath. Where's the story of the guy who figured that his pregnant girl would grow to love him and the baby, neither of which she wanted, and then tried to sue her to take custody from him? Lol, that guy. Being a single parent is hard. I don't like it and want her to do her part. My guy, she pays 200% child support a month, she is doing more than her part. Maybe he should have listened when she said she didn't want kids. Now he has to co-sleep with the baby in the bed he made. There was this girl who stayed at her boyfriend's house. His hobby was drawing a giant map and she carelessly destroyed it and claimed he overreacted because the map wasn't from a real place.